Hey guys, Rob Shoecraft here with 3 Storm Fitness. Got another workout request I'm going to do today. But first of all, subscribe to the videos. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Secondly, if you want to request a workout, I'll put one together for you if I have the time and I feel it's it's a good fit for the channel, and I feel I can help you. I'll put a link to where you can submit those down in the descriptions. And also in the description, some of these videos can get long. This is the second one. The first one was like 30 minutes. This one will be shorter, I promise. A little shorter at least. I'll put all the breakdown, the timestamps where you can jump around so you don't have to sit and watch the whole thing down in the description. So make sure you check that out. You can just link right to the exercise 1A or whatever, and so on. Thirdly, sorry for any outside noise we got going on. Got cats roaming around and birds and whatever. All right, so let's get on with this. This one's for my buddy Cass. Now Cass and Cass submitted this. He trains jiu-jitsu with me, Brazilian jiu-jitsu, and he was asking, he wanted some input on his deadlift and then a couple maybe exercises he could use to strengthen it. Deadlift's fantastic exercise. Just for all-around strength, power. I mean, it's one of the most, when you talk about strength converting, or an exercise converting to daily life, ADL, active daily living, especially in something like jiu-jitsu or any other sport that requires strength and power, it's just one of the best. You could honestly just pick, if someone was to pick just one exercise to do, deadlift, maybe walking would be second, but like it's just that important of an exercise. So good for you, Cass, for doing that. Cass, I know, also happens to have he didn't mention this, but he has a super strong grip, which is awesome. He can almost crush the Captains of Crush 3 gripper. If you know what that is, it's a killer. I've come close myself, but I can't quite get it either. Anyways, deadlift helps a lot with the grip. And Cass sent me a couple videos. I'm not going to post them. He didn't tell me I couldn't, but he didn't tell me I could either. And I'm going to try to recreate it as best I can. Now, I'm going to show you first, because you asked first about your form. And I want to kind of help you with that. And I want to kind of build a workout to help supplement some of the suggestions. So, first of all, man, you're lifting full sumo. I don't really go full sumo. I kind of have a weird stance myself. I kind of have like a little hybrid deadlift stance. It is what it is. You know, you got conventional, you got full sumo. You're kind of out here, and that's fine. You know, you got to play with these to figure out which. One's not better than the other. I mean, but they recruit different muscles differently, and there's pros and cons to each. But ultimately, you got to just decide what works best for you. It sounds like you've decided that sumo works best for you. So. You're down here, and you're kind of going down. You're putting your straps on. I know you got straps. We just talked about how good your grip is, but when you're going, I know you're going double over, which I think is best. Now, if you're training, you said you're not training for competitions or anything. If you're training for a competition, you really want to probably do over/under or heaven help you a hook grip, which is just terribly painful for me anyway. I'm a baby. But yeah, if you're training just to get stronger and you want to use straps and do double over, which I think is safest for symmetry in the spine and everything, yeah, good for you, man. Do that and then do your grip training separately. I mean, if you're deadlifting just for the grip training, you're kind of going overboard. So yeah, use straps, that's fine. So you're going down. Not that you asked for my opinion on that. It's just kind of a hot topic. All right, so you're going down to sumo, and you're kind of coming up like this. Nothing really wrong with what you did there in terms of your position, in terms of your form, but what you're doing, and this is kind of what I noticed a little bit, and this happens sometimes, when you're going real heavy and you're exhausted, this happens. You're kind of coming up, and then right here, you're sort of almost jerking it up a little bit. you don't want that to, you want to try to avoid that where possible. And I think that you have very good raw strength. Like I can just tell, the bar sort of just floats up with you. I think you're doing something like 3 triples of 450, or I can't remember exactly what it was, but it wasn't light. And you're about, what, I have to guess, maybe 230, whatever. It was a good amount of weight. But you need more intent. You need to have more tension, and you need to have more intent, more violence, really. So that's what this workout's going to be about. I'm going to show you just a couple things. So first of all, you start in your stance. Stance is cool. You get your feet out, kind of about 30 degree. You got to experiment with that a little bit, like I said. And then you put your straps on. The only disadvantage about putting straps on is that I like to, when I'm starting, I like to kind of get tense from the get-go. I go through something called a bracing sequence, or the Alexander technique is what like musicians call it, a bracing sequence. So you get some tension on your glutes, you screw your heels into the floor so you're fully engaged down here. You get your shoulders back, get a nice deep diaphragmatic breath, lock that core in so your ribs kind of pull down a little bit, and you're solid, you're in a nice solid position. And from there, you sort of kick your butt back, hinge your butt back so your whole entire body is completely solid. My lats are locked in before it even touches the bar. My hands on the bar, white knuckle grip, and then from there I further, kind of like when you're bench pressing, you want to bend the bar in half. I further grip the bar. Now if you listen to this, you hear that little cling? That's the barbell hitting the plates. So right there, I have tension on the bar. I'm ready to explode. So my lats are locked in as tight as I can get them. My grip's locked in. Everything is super tight, and from there, all I need to do is just explode. So, tension, and then boom. No, I don't say boom. You really don't want to necessarily exhale there. You want to keep that pressure in your core. You want to have that intra-abdominal pressure with your air. So you kind of have like a muscle gut, sort of. You're kind of sticking out. It's really attractive. So if you have straps, it's not that big of a deal. You just start from the straps, but you kind of want to work your way from the inside out. So lock those lats in, and then kind of, let me show you on the side here, sort of grow your body into the bar. Now you're completely loaded. My hamstrings are ready to explode. And from there, this is a super, super important cue. Because a lot of people, when they pull, when they do a deadlift, they want to pull. Like they want to start with their upper back. Your upper back, and there's different techniques and stuff, so I'm not trying to crap on anybody's style, especially if they're stronger than me. But your lats, at least from the beginning, your upper body is stable. It's providing stability. So your lats are not necessarily active. You're actively contracted, but they're not rowing. You're not doing anything with your arms except being extremely solid, and your core is completely locked in. Really, the main driver is the lower body. So, with all that being said, don't think about pulling from the get-go. Think about just pushing the earth away from you, just completely stomping down into the floor, kind of violently, okay? So you're down, super tight, okay? You're tight, lats locked in, hamstrings tight, core tight, and then I'm just gonna drive, everything's super tight, I'm just gonna drive the floor away as hard as I can. All right? And again, I don't always make noises, but I kind of like to pretend I'm in an action movie sometimes. All right, so a couple other things. Sumo squat, this is gonna be related to the video. Sumo squat. Sumo deadlift. Obviously mainly works the posterior chain, pretty much the entire body from heel up to the neck. But what a lot of people I don't think realize is that when you're breaking the bar from the ground, sumo in particular requires a lot of quad activation. So if your quads are kind of weak, or you're not used to turning them on, your sumo squat can suffer. More conventional deadlift puts a little more strain on the rectus spinatus, like the muscles around your spine. And by the way, there's a great site called Stronger by Science, and they go into like the details of like the scientific details and studies and stuff behind all this stuff. And I read a really interesting article where he's talking about quads versus back and sumo versus conventional and pros and cons and everything. Check it out. I'll link to that too. But anyways, point is we gotta work on those quads a little bit to help break the bar to get that explosive start. You also, since you're kind of having trouble with the lockout, you're kind of doing this little thing. As soon as that bar comes up past your knees, you want to drive those glutes forward. Use those glutes and almost like the top of a kettlebell swing. So here's the workout. Man, 10 minutes in, 11 minutes in, getting to the workout. Cool. I lied, it might be long. It might be a long one. Here's what we're doing. This is kind of a little adaptation of a warm-up. We're going to start with the warm-up, going to be kind of quick. Adaptation from a book called Simple and Sinister by Pavel Tetsulin, or however he says his name. And I like this warm-up. It's simple. It's not actually for the deadlift, but it converts pretty well. Take a kettlebell, and you're going to do some halos. You do about 5 or 10 in each direction. You don't want it to be super heavy, but you want it to be enough where you got a great tension in the upper back, shoulders, 5 or 10 in each direction. This is going to be kind of like a flow, like a complex. Then we're going to go into some swings. He doesn't do this in the book. I think he goes into bridges, but whatever. We're going to do some swings. Nice and easy. Kettlebell swings. Lock out on the top. Hips back. It's all in the hips, man. It's all in the hips. It's all in the hips. Okay? We'll do about 10 swings, so 5, 10 halos each direction. About 10, 15 swings. Then I like to kind of get the upper shoulders a little bit, kind of work on packing my upper back. This is also something I added. So you take the kettlebell, drive up, and I want you to pack those shoulders tight as you can and kind of punch the ceiling. Okay, then we're going to do a windmill, kettlebell windmill. If you don't want to do this, if this looks freaky, don't do it. Just work on punching the ceiling, keeping that shoulder packed. Do about 5 of those. Or you can do windmills, kind of work the hamstrings into core, everything in one coordinated movement. Don't be a hero, don't go down too far, but you go about 3 of those each side, okay? Then we're gonna do goblet squats, and take your time on these. So some things I wanna focus on, we're about 5 goblet squats. We're gonna lock those lats in before we go down, lock the core in, screw those heels in the floor, and we're pushing the hips back, pushing the knees out. And from here, I'm kind of driving my knees apart, get my lats tight, everything's tight, but I'm also sort of loosening up at the same time, if that makes any sense. Kind of exploring my framework, okay? And then you're driving up, and lock out at the top. Down, we do about 5 of these. Take your time, come up, lock out. Repeat that cycle 2 times, should be good, and then we'll start the workout. So that's the warm up. So we got, what'd I say? Halos, swings, windmills, goblet squats. Repeat 2, 3 times. All right, then we're gonna move on. Now, I told you I wanted to get kind of violent, so we're gonna start off with some power. We're gonna put that in the beginning, some speed. If you wanted to, take more of like you could do this on like a separate day if you wanted to, do like more like a traditional West Side method, but I don't know what your time, what the rest of your workout looks like, so you could do this a few sets in the beginning before the heavy deadlift. So I like kettlebell swings. They convert really well. Get yourself not the heaviest kettlebell you can find that you can use, but somewhere in the middle, maybe like 70% of what you normally use. I'll grab an 80 here. So what you're gonna do is do like 5 sets, give or take, plus or minus, of super fast, violent swings, okay? If you feel your swing is starting to kind of slow down a little bit, kill it, move on. We want just really quality reps. We're not trying to get a workout, so to speak. We're just trying to work on that violent, that intensity, that intent, okay? So, kettlebell swing, you do like 2, 3 reps. quit, rest about 30 seconds to a minute, repeat about, like I said, 4 to 7 times. Get tight, hike it back. As explosive as you can make it. You could add bands to it if you want to, but there's really no need to starting off. So your body's gonna be primed, your nervous system's gonna be woke, as it were. Don't overdo it though. Again, do not overdo it. You want this to help your dad, you don't want it to hurt it. Okay? Then we're gonna do deadlifts. I'm gonna have you do 2 sets. You warm up. I like the APRE method, the auto-regulatory method, for kind of determining what weight you should use. Maybe we'll start with your 3 rep max. So you can go use a calculator, figure out what that is if you don't know what it is. Estimate based on that. We could take Wendler's 5-3-1 approach, take 90% of your 3 rep max, start there, see how that feels. So what does all that crap mean? Okay, so we want to take your 3 rep max. So let's say you know you could do 400 pounds 5 times. All right, so we go to a calculator, figure out that's going to be, basically it's going to be 90% of your 1 rep max is what your 3 rep max is, more or less, 91 to 93% or something. Calculator will tell you that it's a little more straightforward than it sounds. Take that, we'll multiply that weight by 0.9. So that's going to be what you're starting off for your 3 rep max. You're going to warm up to it. So in the APRE method, I'll put this down in the description. And there's other good sites. Super Training is the book I first learned about. My buddy Ryan suggested it to me. He's like, you got to read Super Training. It's worth getting through. It takes like about a year to read. I'm not even kidding. It's not nice, but it has loaded with great stuff. APRE is just a nice. It's not the best. It's just a really good method of determining what weight you should use, especially for the day. Okay, so you're going to take that weight. You're going to do 50% of the 3 RM of that weight. You're going to do that 6 times. You're going to rest a little bit. You're going to hit 75% of the 3 RM 3 times, and then you're going to go into your work set, your top sets. You got 2 sets, okay? You rest about 5 to 8 minutes in between sets. Full recovery, okay? In between work sets. So you do your deadlifts. I'm not going to do all that crap again. You're going to go as many as you can. So if you get 2 to 4, you're going to stick with that weight for the second set. If you get less than 2, so if you get 1 or less and you don't hit 1, you're going to take some weight off the bar. I'll link to some thing that explains all this crap. But if you get more than 4, if you get 5 plus, depending on how many more you get, you're going to add weight to the bar for the second set, okay? If you're confused, like I said, I'll link to some good documentation. We're going to move on. Now, I don't like to overload deadlift days because they're pretty freaking intense to begin with. They're really hard on your central nervous system, especially if we're starting with some power exercises. So I'm just going to put 2 more exercises in to kind of supplement. We're going to help the quads and we're going to help the lockout with the glutes mainly. So one of the best quadricep exercises I know of, again, my buddy Ryan, just this acquaintance I went camping with, who happened to be a power lifter, was helping me out with some stuff. I was telling him my quads were weak. Holy crap, we're shoes in the gym, by the way. Damn, that was close. All right, that was really stupid. Obviously, I have I have a big posterior. You don't necessarily know it's strong, but you can tell it's big, but my quads are weak. So he said one of the best things is, he kind of described what it was. I figured out what he was talking about was a sissy squat, basically a modified sissy squat. So you put a bar behind your kneecaps, and then let me change the angle here. You're gonna get your knee, this looks a lot worse than it is. Get your weight back here, right? Kind of doing a little Michael Jackson Smooth Criminal there. That's like the 4th time I've cited that, by the way. All right, and you're dropping down, and you're coming back up. You got your heels on the floor, unlike a regular, normal sissy squat, where you're kind of like, I'm not even gonna do it, but you kind of, your heels come off. This is a lot nicer on the knees, in my opinion, and it just crushes the quads directly. So your back, it's okay if your back rounds a little bit, not a big deal. It hits the quads all the way through, starting at the top insertion point, all the way down to the VMO. It's really, really nice. Go about 3 sets, 3 to 5 sets. Progress the volume over like a 4-week period. 3 to 5 sets, anywhere from 10 to 20 reps if you want to just kill yourself. If it's too easy, grab a kettlebell or a dumbbell, basically turn it into a goblet version of that. All right, we're going to superset that with a hip extension. I got a Rogue GHD here. Doesn't really matter what you have. Most gyms have one of these. If you don't have one, you can sort of do a variation of this by putting your feet underneath. But I think you said you have access to a full gym, so you should have one of these. All right, so we got our feet in here. Unlike a traditional glute ham raise, we want to focus mainly on the butt. Okay, so traditional glute ham raise, you start with your knees kind of up in the pad, and you're going down, and you're driving with your hamstrings. This we want to hit the butt, kind of take the hamstrings more or less out of the picture. All I want you to do is just focus on squeezing your butt. I don't want you to think about coming up. I don't want you to think about how high you're coming up with your back. I just want you to squeeze your butt as hard as you can, and the rest will just happen on its own, okay? So you're dropping down, legs straight, hips coming off, squeeze your butt, drive it, squeeze hard at the top, come back down. It's gonna work the lower back a little bit too, in a good way. Down and squeeze. Okay, so here's how you progress that. When you can do about 15 like that, you're gonna put your hands up behind your head, or in front of your head if you're cranking on your neck, okay? In front of your head, and squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Fire the glutes, okay? If that's still too easy, come out with your hands like this. Okay, and if that's too easy, get a ball or something, like this is like a 10-pound slam ball. Oh yeah, not easy anymore. I got that little pause at the top for an extra squeeze. Hit the glutes, hit the glutes, hit the glutes. Okay, bonus exercise. So again, we'll do about 3 to 5 supersets of the modified sissies with the glute targeted hip extensions. 3 to 5, 10 to 20 reps. One more if you're having a great day and you feel like killing it, or just another exercise to consider on another day, maybe, I don't know, depending on what your split is. Kroc Rows. Developed by Matt Kroc, just a freaking beast. Power lifter, I think he's into bodybuilding now. Absolute monster. He developed these. Kroc Rows, hang on a second. Okay, so unlike regular dumbbell rows, where you got a nice slow control, maybe you're on a bench here, slow controlled, you're kind of like mowing the lawn or starting a lawnmower, bringing it back, putting it in your pocket up by your hips, hitting those low lats and everything. Kroc Rows are a little more savage. We're not as concerned with form. We're concerned with safety, but not form so much. We're going high reps, as high as you can. High as you can stand. These are terrible, but they're really, really great for deadlifts, especially grip, upper back, just toughness. They're freaking awesome. Grabbing a heavy, I think Matt Kroc uses like a custom 300-pound dumbbell or something ridiculous. Heavy, barbells are great too if you can get a barbell going. It really works the grip, but start with like a kettlebell, heavy kettlebell or a dumbbell, and we're basically doing this. It looks a little sloppy. There's a couple variations of it. I don't know what the original is, but I usually do them like this. I'm up like here, and just, okay? So I'm exploding, boom, boom, boom. I don't want my shoulder getting all jerky and getting out of shape, but it's kind of these little controlled explosions. You can also do kind of a more of a pronated grip where your palms are more facing in. So it's almost more like it's a little more specific to the deadlift, or like a bent over row. But it's like this. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna start on your weak side, if you have one. Start on your weakest side, as many as you can without stopping. Rest about a minute, and then match it on your strong side, okay? About 2 sets of that is really all you wanna do. So man, with those 3 exercises, and all that considered, you got the power in the front, you got the actual deadlift going heavy, and then you got those 2 or 3 exercises to supplement with, your deadlift's gonna fire. It's gonna go straight up. All right, I hope that helps you out. Guys, if you have any other questions, any workouts you wanna request, please let me know. I love making these videos. I know they're long. I don't know another way to do it. I like to explain everything. I like the comprehensive approach. Maybe that's gonna screw me in the end, but somebody's gotta like it out there. Anyways, please subscribe to my videos. Thank you very much for watching. And again, remember I got the description. I'm gonna have all the details of all this crap in the bottom. Have a great day. Thank you.